Hey guys, I'm Leanne, if you don't know me, and if you do know me and you're back, thank you so much. I'm glad to have you guys back today. I have my husband, Grant, in case you don't know Grant. I feel like you probably do know Grant. But today we're gonna be doing the assumptions about our parenting video. I've seen a bunch of people on YouTube do this video. I've done an assumptions video like years ago, and it was actually pretty fun. It can get crazy, but it was fun, and it brings up topics that you wouldn't normally talk about. And as we are quickly approaching our due date, I am pregnant right now, I just thought it would be fun to hear your predictions or speculations and assumptions about what our life as new parents is going to be like. And I got a lot of very interesting answers over on Instagram. So we're gonna go through a bunch of them. Grant's gonna be helping me because I'm already out of breath, honestly. Okay, going on to our assumptions. I got this one more than anything. And what's crazy is like back to back, I would get complete opposite assumptions, but about the same thing. Grant is gonna be the less strict one. She hears no from mom and goes straight to dad. Grant's gonna let her get away with everything and make you the bad guy. Grant's gonna be the bad cop, rule follower dad. You'll both wanna be good cop, but in the end, Grant will cave and be bad cop. Grant will not be the disciplinarian, LOL. Grant equals good cop, Leanne equals bad cop. You'll be the fun parent, Grant will be the strict parent. Just like it went on and on and on. There were so many of this assumption that went both ways, like back to back. Grant will be the disciplinarian, you will be the disciplinarian. Yeah. And I think this is so funny, and it makes me so curious what people have seen us do along the way in vlogs that makes them think it's gonna go one way or the other, you know? But I will say, I also had assumptions about this and speculated about it back at my bridal shower. They did like a, I think it was a version of the Newlywed Game where they like asked questions to him behind the scenes before the shower. Right. And then they asked me the questions at my shower when he wasn't there. They're like, which one of you is going to be the more strict parent? And I predicted me. And that is still my prediction. I wouldn't call myself like the bad cop, but that is my prediction.
I think it's gonna be me.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I just think that that's kind of what the dad does. Like if you were in trouble, like, oh, wait till your dad comes home, you know.
Yeah, but mom's also like first line of defense. Yeah. I mean, obviously all families are different, but that's how my family worked for sure.
Well, I don't think the cutesy, like, oh, kind of little stuff works on me as much.
You don't think so?
No. You know.
Yeah.
I think that, what?
I don't know. Obviously, maybe I should have said this at the top of the video. We don't know exactly what kind of parents we're gonna be. We don't know every decision. I think all new parents go into the situation thinking it's gonna be like this, and obviously very optimistic. Why would you not be optimistic? But once you get on the ground, you're actually on the job, you see what reality is. You really see what works, and you really see how it plays out. Obviously, we're making a lot of assumptions too, even reacting to your assumptions. And, you know, it is what it is. We'll see what it is very shortly. But I do stand with my assumption that I will be a little more strict and Grant will be a little bit more lenient.
But strict about what?
I think I just notice a lot more things, you know, like pick up on things like in the moment. Like using Luna as an example, like if she suddenly gets something in her mouth that she's not supposed to get in her mouth, like I see it out of the corner of my eye 3 miles away and I'm like, what's going on, you know? Yeah. And probably not a good example, but
we'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see.
There are a lot of you that are on both sides, which I think is very interesting. And I would like to know in the comments, if you left an assumption like that, why? And not like in a, you know, just I'm curious, basically. Anyway, let's move on. Let's find another one. There will be helicoptering involved.
Helicoptering?
She's predicting that we will be like helicopter parents.
Well, that's not the goal.
That's not our goal. Not our goal. For sure. I mean, it's gonna be our first baby. I think everyone is a little bit more like, what's going on? What's happening? You know, like wanting to keep the kid super, super safe and be super, super on top of absolutely everything with their first baby, especially. And we're gonna be first-time parents. Like, I really do not expect anything different.
Yeah.
But our goal is definitely not to be helicopter parents. We want to instill independence and confidence and a willingness to take risks and get out there and put yourself out there, fall down and get back up. Yeah, not our goal.
Yeah.
I don't think that's anyone's goal though.
No, but I think we're gonna try to avoid it.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Okay, moving on. Here's an interesting one. I assume that you're going to be extremely strict about what baby eats as they grow.
I think we're going to be strict in the sense that we want the baby to not be picky, and so we're going to do everything we can to make sure that they eat a lot of different foods and are exposed to a lot of different foods and don't grow up just chicken tenders and macaroni and cheese and hot dogs.
Yeah.
I think that's something we both feel is really important.
Yeah.
So we'll be strict, but probably not in the sense that you mean.
Yeah, not as far as like, I never want to put restrictions on food groups, certain kinds of foods. You know, I want to be more neutral if possible. I think that's probably a healthy attitude to like have cookies in the pantry for snacks, but also have more healthy options and fruit and stuff like that, and offer them both and have them both as like a everyday option, not like, oh, we only eat sweets and junk food on special occasions, and like kind of like create like a stigma for the kid. And like, I don't know, it's just, there is a lot that goes into attitudes about foods, and I think it starts really, really young, and I think it's important not to be, I guess, strict about what your kid eats. I want them to be strong and healthy and have a varied palate and be open to trying new things, of course. But I also don't want to like block out junk food and stuff like that. I want them to have like...
No, you have to teach it. Yeah, you want to expose them to that kind of stuff so that they're not like, what is this magical stuff that I can't eat?
Yeah, once they go to school and they see all their friends' lunches and they have Oreos and they're like, I've never had an Oreo, or go to a birthday party and they're like, ice cream, this is everything I've ever wanted. Like, I just don't want anything to be off limits. I just want a healthy attitude around food and eating and mealtime. And
well, it's about teaching moderation too, so they're around those things, they can eat them and not
and self-regulate.
Say like, we never get ice cream, so I gotta eat everything I can.
Yeah. You know? Yeah, like these cookies are so good, I gotta eat the whole box before they get taken away or before I leave grandma's house or something like that. You know, I feel like that's how I grew up. Like, we had junk food, but we also ate a lot of healthy food, and my mom home cooked a lot of meals, basically all meals, but we had it all, and I never grew up with any kind of feeling about like, this is off limits. I mean, you guys see how I eat. Like, I'm all about the junk food, but also about the healthy food. It's a complicated thing, and it's definitely something that we've talked about a lot. I don't think you'll breastfeed. And I actually saw several that were like that. Like, you will opt out of breastfeeding just by choice, that kind of thing. And that's not true. I am planning on breastfeeding, but I'm doing my best to go into it with a healthy attitude. You know, I've talked to other moms. I've talked to people that have very recently gone through it. I know it is hard. I know it does not come easy, and there are a lot of challenges. It's hard. It's natural, and I know it's really, really good for the baby, which is why I want to do it. But I know that it's hard, and I don't feel any sense of shame or anything if I end up having to supplement with formula, or, you know, I just want to be flexible through the process. I want to, of course, do my best. You want to do your best, of course, but I don't want to put, you know, so much pressure on myself. Like, if I don't exclusively breastfeed, I'm abusing my child, you know, and I feel like it's so easy to like slip into that mode. I think as a new mom, you know, you just want to do everything you possibly can for your baby and to help them be healthy and fed and alive. And it is something that your brain just tells you, like, I'm supposed to be able to do this. And if it's not happening perfectly and smoothly, you beat yourself up. And I really, really, really want to try to maintain a healthy attitude about it. That is a wrong assumption. I am going to try to breastfeed.
Wrong.
I need like an effect, like a big stamp or something.
Stamp.
Wrong. Okay, here's one that is kind of going another direction. I feel like all the fertility treatments cause friction in your marriage. So this is kind of like a parenting assumption. I've talked about it a little bit in the past, and obviously I've talked about fertility a ton on my channel because we've gone through a lot in our fertility journey, but it has caused friction for us. But I would say now that we're on this side of fertility treatments and IVF and IUI and all the things that we've gone through, I do feel like it made us stronger. It's almost like, you know, we went through the war of it and we won. You know, we came out the other side together. I think that we were both very focused. Like when we have a mission, we are stronger and we like to attack something like it's a mission. And we were both 100% on board and we attacked it and we did not stop. But I mean, there was, you know, he always listened to me about my feelings. If I ever said like I wanted to stop or take a break or something, he totally would have respected that. But it was something that we were both 100% on board with. And I think that's what's most important, even after there were moments of friction of like bad news and feeling discouraged through that. Or after I had my second egg retrieval and I had horrible complications and like there were just a ton of unknowns, it felt. I feel like we made some mistakes along the way there. There was friction after that, but I feel like getting through that made us stronger.
Yeah, I agree. I think that, going through fertility treatments is hard because at the end of it, you don't have a baby yet. I mean, it feels really good to get embryos, but then you're still at a point where you're kind of at the starting point for most people. And so you still have a really long journey. And it's very stressful because it's very intense. The number of doctor's visits, tests you have to go through, ultrasounds, it's very fluid in terms of what's going to happen with the schedule. You really are stressed about, you know, getting all the medications right. Are we doing this right? That's very complex. So that we found, I mean, there's so many people that we've met along the way that do IVF that of all the kind of other families we know, I think the majority of are actually IVF families rather than naturally conceived.
And
which is super interesting.
It's wild, but it's really been such a help to us to have people around us that completely get what we're going through, have been encouraging to us, have openly shared their stories. I've talked about this before, but it's just, there's nothing like having people that get it around you. Yeah. Because it's such an isolating experience, even if you do have people around you that get it, even if you do have a super supportive partner that's in it with you 100%, it's hard and it's scary no matter what. But I can't imagine going through it and not having other couples around us. You know, even my sister and my brother-in-law, you know, they were going through it before us and at the same time as us. And I just can't imagine going through it without other people. Yeah, you couldn't. It's just so different than, you know, pregnancy. And like when you got pregnant, like it was just like, oh, well, we're not having to go in twice a week and we're not having to check all these levels. And I mean, you still had to do your progesterone shots, but then it was like there was such a drawback in the intensity of what was going on. I vlogged it all. Go check that out. But I am happy someone brought up fertility because today's sponsor for this video is Modern Fertility, and I'm so excited about what they do. I've talked about fertility and PCOS for years on my channel. I've gone through a journey. Like I don't like calling everything a journey, but it really has been a journey. And what they do is so exciting. Like, do not skip this. I'm just gonna say, because if it doesn't apply to you, it applies to someone that you know. Their whole purpose is making fertility information and support more accessible for everyone. And I am such a big believer in this. I want to encourage women at every turn to find information, investigate things. Like if you feel something is off, figure it out. You know, that's what I had to do along the way. And in those videos that I made about like PCOS and everything along the way, you know, I told you guys, I was met with so much frustration trying to find someone that would listen to me, give me tests, help me figure out what was really going on, what was at the root of the problem. And it was hard. There were so many doctors that just wanted to tell me to take the pill because I wasn't quite ready to have a baby yet, but I knew my hormones were off. And I've heard from a lot of you guys saying the same thing. And I'm just like, I feel like I cannot repeat it enough. Yes, I think everyone should investigate their health and take charge as much as you can. I wish it was, you know, easier out there for women to figure these things out. Like, I wish doctors were a little bit easier to work with, but the world is the way it is. And if this had existed when I was going through all of those issues, I would have jumped on this test so long ago. And I just know it could help so many people, even if it's just peace of mind. So they do a lot of things, but their main thing is they make tests that help people be proactive and get answers that are pretty hard to get otherwise. And actually, whenever I first learned about modern fertility, I sent the site to Grant because I was like, this is too good to be true, right? Like, is this legit? And he was like, no, yeah, this is legit. Like, this is actually really amazing. Their hormone test is actually the most comprehensive fertility hormone test that's available for at-home testing. And it's also at a way, way lower cost than you're gonna find out in the world. You know, sometimes it's hundreds and hundreds of dollars, sometimes over $1,000 you'd have to pay. And it's way lower than that. So it's so much more accessible for people. And there are a few things that you can learn from doing this test. If you have more or fewer eggs than average for your age, the potential outcomes if you decide to do IVF or egg freezing, and also insight into your hormone levels that can indicate if you have something like PCOS or thyroid disorders. And like I said, hormone health influences overall health, and it's definitely worth looking into. And beyond their fertility hormone test, they have prenatals, they have tools online, they have their community. They have so much that you can look into, and I actually have a link for you guys. It's going to be in the description down below, and you can get $20 off that fertility hormone test, and you can also get $5 off prenatals. All right, I feel like I actually started sweating during that. Like, I am so passionate about it, but we're gonna get back to the assumptions. Okay, here's a really, really weird one. You'll try to use your Southern accent more so Miss Baby gets it. Can you imagine changing your accent when you have a baby to influence them to have an accent?
That would be
borderline, like sociopath?
Not borderline, that's straight up crazy. I mean,
and
that's
then like later in life, your kid is like, wait, that's not your accent?
Yeah, that's like...
Or wait, that's not your accent?
That's bananas. That's like Baby Jane level, like kind of crazy.
Insanity. Like, I know that she didn't mean it in like a mean way or anything. No, I really don't think, but it just struck me as absolutely hilarious. That being said, I wish I had a more Southern accent. I think Southern accents are so cute. I don't know what happened to me. You know, there are home videos of me as a little kid. I had a major accent and it just fell off. And I mean, I know that I still have a Southern accent, but it's not as strong as it was when I was little.
You don't have a Southern accent.
We're from Texas. We can't hear our own accent.
You don't have a Southern accent.
You're from Fort Worth. You can't hear it.
Maybe. You don't have one.
Okay, let's move on. Okay, here's another one that is interesting. Your daughter will go to private school. So this is one that we've definitely talked about a lot for years. Yeah. Maybe even before we got married. Because this is just something that everyone has to deal with. It influences where you move, because obviously you want to consider what are the schools, like public schools in the area.
You know, like you said, it's a lot of different factors. We haven't decided one way or the other. You know.
Yeah, we haven't decided, but it's something that we've talked about a lot. I lean more towards public school, and I think Grant tends to lean a little bit more towards private school, but I do feel flexible on it. You know, it's not like something we've argued about. It's just kind of like an open discussion. And obviously when we move out of this house, schools are going to be a top consideration. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And obviously the cost is a huge consideration also, but it's still up in the air. So I can't really say if this assumption is wrong or right. We just have to wait and see.
Yeah, we're just gonna play it by ear.
Yeah, play it by ear. Okay, that you'll spoil her.
That I will or we will?
She said your, so I'm thinking she means us as a collective, that we will spoil her.
I think that spoiling kids is harmful to them.
Yeah,
so
well, I mean, it's also a very vague term. I think, you know, by some people's standards, we might spoil our child, but I don't think we're gonna do anything to consciously spoil our child. You know, in the same way with, you know, the goal is not helicoptering. The goal is not spoiling our child. I don't want my child to feel like anything that she wants, she will get. I don't think that would be a good attitude to be used as your foundation in life, because that's not what life is. You don't get everything you want. And, you know, obviously we want them to be hard workers and to appreciate the things that they have in life, and not to feel like, I don't know, like material stuff it comes easy. It all depends on what you define as spoiling.
That's true.
So maybe we will, maybe we won't. We don't know. But we're not going to try to. Okay, here's a crazy one. You'll be an anti-granola parent. LOL. Not a bad thing, BTW. I got actually a couple of assumptions like this. Like, you're not going to be a crunchy mom and you're not going to be a granola parent. I think that assumption is definitely correct from what I know.
True.
But I wouldn't say it's like anything like natural or crunchy or granola or whatever we're against. You know, definitely not. I want to support all moms, and I am all about good moms. And I think that moms that are super into all that stuff, they are doing what they think is best for their child. And I mean, how can you not support that? But I also don't feel like I have like a full understanding of like the definition of like a crunchy mom. And so I did look it up, and it's stuff like breastfeeding like indefinitely and like sleeping with your child until they're like a toddler. I don't know, making your own baby food and like baby wearing, which like, I think that's awesome. Like if you can make your own baby food and have like a baby sling, like we have a baby carrier. I want to get one that's just like material, because like who doesn't want to have free hands but also hold your baby? Like that's genius. I don't really think, I don't know, I think some of the things that are defined as like crunchy mom things are pretty extreme, but if it works for you, it works for you. But I would definitely not like define myself as like a crunchy mom or something like that. I don't think that really fits me. It doesn't fit us. We like doctors. We're gonna give our kid medicine. You know, you guys already know this about us. Yeah. So we definitely don't fall into that category.
Correct.
Okay, here is another interesting one. You're going to hire a nanny. And I got a couple of these right now, even though we have not had the baby yet. I believe the answer is yes. I think that a nanny or a babysitter or consistent caregiver type help is in our future. We've seen the parents around us benefit greatly from having extra hands, extra help, you know, people that are in the business. Yeah. And I don't think there's any shame in that. I think that some moms are judgy towards each other. Like, oh, well, you know, your life's not hard because you have someone to help you. I think that the world works better when you have help. Obviously, it's not something that everyone does or chooses to do. But I think it will help us. I mean, I never present myself as being someone that's like, I'm good at everything. I can do it all. I love to juggle everything in life. Like, I don't. I need help, and I'm all about asking for help when I need it. You know, we'll need help.
Well, you need more than two people to take care of a baby.
Yeah.
And if
it takes a village.
It takes a village. Yeah. I don't think that you can do it all. You can't take care of a baby and preserve all of your mental health and not suffer if it's just one person, two people, and that's it. You can do it, sure, but it's not gonna be as good as if you had some help. If it's family, ideally, if it's a nanny, if it's daycare, if it's anything. You just can't. There's not enough time. I mean, taking care of a baby is a 24-hour a day job. You need help, and that's life, and we'll get help any way we can.
And I just want to reiterate, in my mind, there's no shame around it, and
no.
I think that there's still somehow shame around it out in the world of like, oh, well, you have a nanny or you have a consistent babysitter or you send your kids to daycare. Like, I wouldn't do that, like moms just want to believe like I can do it all. I can do it better than anyone else.
Right.
And if you're not doing it all and doing it for yourself, if you're not suffering to the maximum, you're not doing it right. And I just don't believe that's true.
Yeah, there's this thing, our society has it goes for like working at your job, for home life. If you're not basically killing yourself, tired, sleep deprived, not taking care of yourself, then you're not committed and you're not into it. And that's just such a horrible way to live. Yeah. It touches on also the toxicity of people judging other people on how they parent and their choices and how they raise their kids. It's just dumb.
Yeah. I would like to think that assumption is coming from like just a curious place, but just from the things I've seen online, it's probably not the case, Yeah. But I don't have any shame around it, and I think that. But that's how I think we should be encouraging to each other.
It's normal to have help because that's how people evolved. You evolved in a group of people, so when you're taking care of kids, there was other people around. It wasn't, we didn't evolve as, it was just supposed to be a 2-parent thing. There was always going to be
2-parent/1 parent.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times, everything falls on mom, and especially if there's multiple children, you need family around, you need helpers around. Like, I just hate that there's shame around it and there's judgment around it so much. I think it's so toxic.
Yes.
So, okay.
Toxic.
Grant's favorite song.
True.
All right, let's go out on a really sweet one. Going to raise your kids to learn about the world and be accepting of everyone. That's really, really, really
wrong. Way off, guys.
Hate and war in this household.
Yes.
No, of course, that is the goal. We've identified a few things that are not our goals in this video. That's obviously a goal. We want them to be happy, whole, confident, excited about life and interacting with other people, everyone. It's just, I have thought so much more in the last year about like my hopes and dreams for my baby. Like, I want her to have all of these qualities, and I want her to be strong and all of these things. And of course, that's also part of it. I want her to be accepting and so many things. It's fun to think about. It's also a little bit daunting of like, oh my gosh, that's such a big job to bring someone up with good values. And
I think it's really important to raise kids so that they see the world for what it is and not what you want it to be, and they experience all kinds of diversity and have a diverse world around them. And you have to do that actively. So that's really important.
It's definitely important to us. All right, my camera has actually already turned off twice while we've been recording this. I feel like it's very long. I appreciate you being here. Thank you for submitting your assumptions. Subscribe to my channel to keep up with all the new vlogs and videos. Hit the bell for notifications. Find me on social media. It's LeighAnnSays everywhere. And I think this was fun.
It's awesome.
Yeah. Thanks for doing it with me.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Thanks. I love you. Bye.
Here we go.
Okay, great.
Yes.
I feel like I'm looking at you and it's making it seem like it's your decision.
Oh.
It's not your decision.
Okay. Yes, and we're taking applications.
Roll around like this.
I'm not looking at your lips.
Always look at my lips. Always look at my lips. What's the question?